Why would God make people gay in the first place?
Well, of course I would say it comes from God. If I didn't believe that, then I wouldn't be Christian.
Why would God make people gay?
This is an interesting conversation with Joe Rogan pressing Matt Walsh on why would God create people to be born as LGTV. We're going to listen to it, and then I'm going to share my thoughts at the end, so stick around.
Well,
if he didn't want them to engage in gay sex.
All people have proclivities or towards different sins, different things that we would call sins.
Yeah, but if that's like their fundamental attractiveness, they're attracted fundamentally to other men, like, or other women. Like, why? It seems like something that God gave them. Like, why would God give you an attractiveness, or why would you be attracted to the same sex if that was morally reprehensible, if that was against God's will? Why would he instill that lust and that desire and that feeling of being attracted and feeling of being in love with someone of the same sex?
I don't think instilled is not the word that I would use. I
What
don't
would
think
you
God
use?
instills it. I think that one of the again you want to get into Christian doctrine. I mean one of the basic elements of Christian doctrine is that we're a fallen species, and so there are many things that come out of our kind of fallen human nature, and we all have, like I said, we all have proclivities towards sin, and no one's going to live a perfect life, To live a moral Christian life is really difficult. It requires a lot of sacrifice, no matter who you are. And that's it. I mean, it's.
Have you wrestled with these thoughts before? Have you had these kind of conversations and really
Sure, absolutely.
tried to figure out why would God create gay people? Do you think that God has created gay people, or do you think they have a choice?
God has created all people, so every person that's gay was created by God, of course. Where exactly does that proclivity come from? Like I said, I don't know exactly. I mean, to say that someone's born gay, I have issues with that go beyond theology, because now you're talking about, if you're born with any sexual proclivity, then that means that we're talking about like gay infants and so on. And
right, but don't you think people are born straight? That some people are born straight? Were you born straight?
it's an odd way of talking about it. Like to say that a baby is heterosexual. I think babies don't have a sexuality in that sense.
Right,
that's something
but
that
eventually they will develop a sexuality, and a small percentage of them will be homosexual. And that's always been, been documented. It's natural.
Yeah.
It's even natural in some animals.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we started by talking about laws and what laws are put in place. Now we're talking about Christian teaching.
But don't you think that
Christianity has I don't deny that Christianity has a challenging sexual moral code, but we're also, I'm not suggesting that the Christian sexual morality should be codified into law.
But isn't that
down
what's
to every
happening
judge.
if that's how we define marriage? Because marriage is law. And if marriage shouldn't involve gay people, then you are saying that it's because of Christian fundamentalist ideology.
No, because I think you can talk about the marriage issue without even getting into biblical morality, which is what I was doing. I mean, you brought up the Bible,
right?
I didn't.
Well, I
introduce
brought we talked about Christianity, in particular,
right? But that's my point. It's like you introduced that to the conversation,
yes,
because
I wanted to find the reason why you opposed gay people being married.
I like Matt Walsh's answers on this question, and I understand that a lot of people are struggling with this, and that's why this is a very touchy subject and thing to talk about. And a lot of people don't understand, just like Joe doesn't understand, and he's asking this question of why would God allow this to take place? Why would God make somebody this type of way and then tell them that this is wrong. And I think a lot of people are confused when it comes to this. And actually, the Bible tells us that Satan, the enemy, the devil, he is the author of confusion. And so when you notice that there is confusion about a subject, often you can insert that the devil is involved in that matter. And the devil is the one who has disrupted the natural flow of humanity ever since the beginning. And God has not created anybody to have any desires for sin. God is not the one that put the desire inside of the human heart for sin. Who we are now as creation and who we are as humanity, it is all a product of the fall, and it is all a product of what happened after Adam and Eve sinned in the garden and they introduced sin into the world and into mankind. And ever since then, mankind has been imperfect. And so just the same way as somebody can have these desires as they grow older, like how does somebody end up becoming a serial killer? Or how does somebody end up becoming a person that lives a completely wicked lifestyle and gets involved in all types of criminal activity? Sure, we would like to say that it was the way that they were raised and all of these different things, their environment. But what's not to say that that's the same thing that causes people to be attracted to the same sex? There's a lot of research and studies and a lot of people that have come out personally that what caused them to go in that direction is because of grape at a young age, of somebody that took advantage of them or something of that nature. I know that's not the case for all, but what's not to say that it's the environment that causes that, or something that is in the household. Another thing is pornography, getting introduced to pornography at a young age. And even if you just look at the generation today, you have to ask the question of why is it the fact that the LGTV community has grown significantly. If you go back, I believe it is to the 60s, there were only 5% of people that classified as LGTV, where now you have it all the way up to 20% that are classified as LGTV. And the reason why, in my opinion, is because it is something that is being pushed, and it is something that is more culturally accepted and is being pushed, all the different types of agendas that we see at work today. And so it's creating this culture and environment that is fostering for people to gravitate and latch onto that. But all in all, the reason why people have the desire for same-sex attraction, it is because sin. It's not because of God. God has not designed us in any way for the acts of imperfection, but God designed us perfectly in his image. And everything that we do today that manifests itself in sinful desires and sinful nature is because of the fall of man. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, let me know your thoughts on the comment section. I just encourage, let's keep it friendly and keep the peace. You can share your opinion, but you don't have to talk crazy about me or disrespect me or anything like that. Also, why don't you give a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video? Do me a favor, become a subscriber to the channel so that we can reach others with this message and so that we can fulfill what our mission is: to teach, admonish, and exhort people to rise above carnal thinking and embrace the mind of God. And remember, we all have a mind, but there's no better mind than the mind of God.